It's tattered, it's magic. Let's check it out. Hi folks, Old Man Grognard here. Got you another review. This one is for a game called Tattered Magicks. This is by Moebius Adventures. It was written by Brian Fitzpatrick, if I can read my own handwriting. This thing's about 146 pages, and it was published in 2020. So let's see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, here we have it. Tattered Magicks by Moebius Entertainment. It's a nice little book. It's a digest size, of course. Beautiful cover, beautiful contents. They really laid it out nice with some really nice artwork in it too. It's not a big book, but it is comprehensive for what it wants to do. You've got your character creation, career paths, magic, things like that, combat, and it's very, very easy, and it's not really complicated, and it's got a nice, one column layout too. You see about that. Very nice, easy. The font's easy on the eyes. It is a serif font, so those are always easier on the eyes. And it's a nice book to have. Even has a monster section, things like that. Of course, and there's the character sheet, and that's what you get. It's Tattered Magicks. Tattered Magicks. Take it away, Glenn. Okay, this is all about magic in the real world. It's one of those alternate histories of the real world where there was what they called Underhill, which is the Fae, and there's the real world, and they used to go back and forth all the time until a bunch of people, like way back when, like that Merlin got together, and they managed to push the Fae out because they were causing a lot of trouble and things like that. And they've been trying to get in ever since. And these days, the modern days, a war is brewing, they said, and there needs people who can see these things, because there's a lot of people who don't believe it. Most of the people who don't believe it. So it's one of those things, again, the secret magical realm inside the world, things like that. It's not a new concept, but there's some good stuff in here. My idea is always, there's only so many stories in the world. There's only so many plots in the world, but it depends on what you do with it. And as far as the game rules go, the setting is interesting, and you can get a lot of miles out of this. But the game system, I'm kind of fascinated. It's called the Inverse 20 rule set, and all you need is a D20 and a few D6s. I'd say about no more than like 4 D6s. There's 7 attributes, and you get those by rolling a D6 and add 8, and any ones you re-roll. So the attributes range from 10 to 14. With other things, it can go up to 16, but originally it's, starting out it's just 10 to 14. There's things called entanglements, 1 per. This is more like what you're all about. Let's take a look here. Entanglements, stuff like behind the curtain, or blessed, or doubter, scholar, weirdness magnet, things like that. Things that are just, this is the way you grew up, this is the way you were. And it gives you bonuses to your attributes. Same with traits. Traits is, you start out with one background and 1 professional trait. You can get more as you go up in level, but traits are more like skill sets, Let's take a look. It's a these things all add up. There's like background traits and other things like that, like average Joe, criminal, you know, what you are, hacker, geek, true believer, etc., etc. You also have a career path. You choose one. And that's pretty much your job, things like that. Now, this game is interesting because it goes, first of all, you know the concept of advantage and disadvantage from 5e. Well, this game is all about that. Everything it does has to do with advantage and disadvantage like this. First of all these things like traits and career path and even the magic stuff, you don't get any more points for it. It's associated with an attribute, from what I understand. And what it does, it bumps your roll. In other words, if you're trying to do something, you pick out the attribute you want to use, okay? Now, in this world, all the Fae and such rolls at advantage, and the regular people, you guys, the PCs, roll at disadvantage because the Fae have an advantage on this. But things like attributes, traits, things like that, bump that up. It can go from disadvantage, no advantage, to advantage. So that's how you use these things. You find out, okay, this is the attribute. I want to use strength to do this, and I'm really good at whatever the trait is, or the you know, things like that. It will bump up into, okay, just roll straight, because if you roll straight, you know, it's disadvantage 2d6, take the worst. Advantage 2d6, roll the best, take the best. Or not 2d6, I'm sorry, 2d20, roll the worst, 2d20, roll the best. So that's how that works. Very simple, very simple. The initiative is basically each side works it out for themselves, and it goes like this. The players go first, the enemies go first. Now, if you want to switch that up and make it a little more dangerous, the next round it flips. The enemies go first, the players go first, or something like that. I would play around with that a lot, because you can. That's something that's GME goodness right there. And all damages are d6s. The armor is interesting. There is armor in this game, and there's armor. Okay, there's armor points and there's armor resistance. And each armor has that. What it does is, say you have a piece of, I don't know, chainmail, and it has armor points, 10 armor points, and 2 armor resistance. So how that works is the armor points are ablative. So you can take 10 points and it'll come off, and then before the armor is damaged. And you got to go fix it or get it replaced or whatever. But the 2 armor resistances, you will always get that 2. It's just, it reduces down to 2. So you got to watch that. Death, negative toughness. That's death right there. And there's adventure leveling. So many adventures you level, so many adventures you level, that kind of thing. Anyway, it's a really fascinating game. I'm tempted to try some things like that with the armor and things like that. And the magic, okay, first of all, there's also one more thing. Instead of money, you have, what do they call it in here? Oh bother, I should have marked these pages. They call them purchase rolls. You get 1 purchase roll starting out. You make the purchase roll, you roll against your presence, and if you make it, you get the gear. Now, you get gear when you get a career path and things like that and other things, but if you want something over and above that, that's when you get the purchase rolls. Now, in Magic, you have a magic roll, and it's the same thing. You roll against, I can't remember what you roll against, but, you know, you have advantage, and all the stuff is advantage, disadvantage too, if you have something to add. And what it is you make up the spell and roll. And if you roll it, you know it. You get it. You don't roll it, it fails, or something spectacular can happen, but you don't get the spell. I think you understand what I'm saying. Okay, where do we get this game? That's a good question. You can go to Drive-Thru RPG. Drive-Thru RPG, I don't have a price on it, but they're selling this, they're selling the PDF, they're selling both, package both. So we'll go there. I was hoping the book would tell me. Oh well. Well, son of a gun. Anyway, Tattered Magicks. Try it. It's a lot of fun. So until I see you, and go down there and I'll put links down there. But subscribe, hit the bell, blah 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 blah. It helps. So until I see you folks next time. Bye bye.